Hi, I'm Steve Postell. Welcome to On the Path. This is Lesson 4 in my 6-part series on how to play the guitar. So if you've joined me on any of the first 3 lessons, great to have you back. And if this is your first time working with me on Lesson 4, welcome. So as you can tell, because we've done 3 lessons before, this lesson assumes you do play a little bit of guitar. You don't have to be an expert, but what we've gone over so far are things like you should be able to play a bar chord and use your fingers and get around a little bit on a pick. But Lesson 4 is where I think the guitar starts to get really fun because we get into really intermediate guitar playing that starts to be very musical. And we're going to do a bunch of things in this lesson. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to work on alternate bass thumb picking, or Travis picking as it's called. And that's a style you've heard many, many times and can accompany thousands and thousands of songs where the thumb basically acts as the bass player, and then you can put in all kinds of other things. This technique was really popularized in the 40s by Merle Travis, and you can see some great old videos on YouTube of him doing. He used a thumb pick to really get that going really strongly. So we're going to work on Travis picking, and also show how you can use a pattern but also add bass lines into it. And just even with the same basic simple pattern, the thumb going back and forth, make it very musical and interesting. Then we're also going to look at some rock and roll rhythm playing, as opposed to what we've been doing a lot on the acoustic guitar is more folk music or bluegrass where you strum, playing a lot of open strings. But when you're playing in a rock and roll band, there's a keyboard player maybe, or another guitar player, a bass player, drummer. So that's too many notes, it's too much open stuff ringing. So for rock and roll, which is a little bit more percussive, we have to learn how to do things like dampen and choking notes, which is that kind of technique. We also learn how to aim the pick and only play certain notes so that we're not playing full open chords. We play parts of chords. We do things like that. We also learn something called a power chord, which is one of the fundamental rock and roll chords, which is really just 3 notes. We're going to work on that as well. And then when we're done with that, for some extra credit, we're going to learn the beginning really of soloing and what makes some of the techniques of soloing work and make soloing sound good and it's fun to do. Soloing is not so much about how many notes or how fast or any of that. Some of the greatest soloists we have, B.B. King, Eric Clapton, they don't really play always that many notes, but they play the right notes and they use certain techniques, and we're going to work on those techniques today that really make a solo sort of sing, which it really is trying to do, is trying to imitate the human voice a little bit. And those are bends, vibrato, slides, hammer-ons, and pull-offs. And just some simple techniques like that that'll get you started on your soloing career. So it's a lot to do, but it's a lot of fun. Get your guitar, get in tune, and let's get started.